two, part two of this series. I want to go ahead and thank everybody who's joined me recently, all the new subs, all the new likes, all the new support. I really appreciate you guys. Also, all of the information about this video, all of my information will be in the description below. Check it out. Um, Follow me on all social media: Twitter, LB underscore THAREALIST, LB the realist. Instagram, also Anchor.fm. I got a podcast that I occasionally post to. It's just the audio. So if you go to Anchor.fm, you will hear different audio of me. Also, I'm available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that jazz. So if you guys want to check out the information there in the description, go ahead and do so. Let me see. Yeah, just a little update to all my longtime subscribers and to anybody who cares. Really, we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well with YouTube's algorithm lately. And that's awesome. Whether or not you agree with the content that I'm providing you guys, it's got some very beneficial things going on, such as I'm getting a lot of new people that are finding me. A lot more people um, that I'm finding actually, like Savvy Sabs and Primo Radical, in which we'll get into a little bit more of his video in this segment. So it's really bringing a lot of people together, and that's one positive that I'm seeing in all of this. I believe somebody actually left that comment on my page on the video, on my last video. So that's a positive, man. And not only that, but it's important for lefties especially, but for anybody on the left, the right, the middle, for people to call out what's right and what's wrong, for people to call out truth, for people to call out for justice and equality. It doesn't make sense for us to sit on the fence and to not talk about these issues for the fear of, asking tough questions, or for the fear of, being seen as, somebody who just wants clicks, or is trying to get into the drama. No, that's not what this is about at all. And I'm only reporting on the stuff that actually makes sense. Like the fact that nobody, not nobody, but very few people called this out for what it was. And it was a blackmail attempt by Anna Kasparian. Not enough people want to speak out against these kind of things because they just label it as Jimmy Dore drama. It's not just Jimmy Dore drama. It's really TYT drama. That's where it all started. Hashtag TYT drama. That's where it all really started. That's where it all really started, man. Don't forget, this is about the OPCW cover-ups. The two whistleblowers that came out and said that whole thing was a sham. Basically, that they omitted key parts and key evidence that they wanted to put into the report. They omitted it. They wanted to cover it up. Those, the canisters that were so-called filled with the chemicals or whatever, the chlorine or whatever it was, or wasn't. They said that it was staged. They were placed there. Not that they dropped from helicopters or dropped from aerial craft or anything like that. They were set up like that. This is what they said. Um, another guy had came. I forgot the name of the other guy, but I did a video on this. They're speaking out against this, and the TYT doesn't want to cover it. Prominent people on the left don't want to cover it, and it's a problem. They don't want to call out the weaponization of the Me Too movement. They don't want to call that out. They think that's too messy. Meanwhile, we got Crystal Ball letting Kyle do all her dirty work. She hasn't said a word on the matter. And, maybe that's the smartest move for her. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. So let me go ahead and jump into this video right here. Jimmy Dore goes nuclear on Primo Radical's channel. Shout out Primo Radical. I just subbed to him yesterday, as well as Savvy Sabs. And he has some interesting things to say. Yesterday, I kind of went to the middle. Well, I went to about 11 minutes and 52 seconds, and then I played the video on from there. But Jimmy actually has a build up to that moment. And that's what I really want to go over in this video. So just a quick recap. Yesterday, we went over Primo Radical asked Jimmy Dore about the inappropriate comment that Jimmy Dore made. And I shouted out Primo Radical for basically doing Kyle's job and asking the tough questions that apparently Kyle was too scared to ask his friend. Yeah, right, whatever. All right. So shout out Primo Radical. Shout out Savvy Sab. Shout out Uncle Tim Black, Uncle Rob from the Bobby Brown show. Shout out to those two gentlemen right there as well. Let's see. Jimmy reiterates that he was told TYT had to move to the right. Doesn't want to say who, but conveniently brings up Bang Mankiewicz's name. All right, so Jimmy says Kyle Kalinske is on the TYT algorithm and that he's benefiting from this algorithm, which is interesting because Kyle Kalinske is still on TYT. He also brought up the fact that he noticed that they were deleting Kyle Kalinske's likes, or his dislikes from the video, his response video. Let's see. And also the last point of what I want to talk about here, or what I already talked about yesterday, was Jimmy said that Kyle and Crystal's actions, because remember, Kyle is speaking for Crystal at this moment. He's speaking for Crystal at this time. Crystal's not saying anything about it, so we have no choice but this. Okay, I guess he's speaking for both of them. You know what I'm saying? So he says that Kyle and Crystal's actions were totally unforgivable, meaning there's no chance of reconciliation between these two or these three people. That what they did was absolutely terrible. It was horrible. It was unforgivable. It's not something that they can come back from. That part saddens me because I thought that Kyle Kalinske and Jimmy Dore they would have made a great team. I actually thought that, one day the progressive movement would get all the big, progressive or lefty shows together. We'll all combine our efforts and then make our own counter to TYT, make our own counter, to the pro-war, pro-regime change, pro-imperialist movement over there at the middle-aged McCarthyites. That's what I had hoped would happen one day. But it seems as though, and this is just my speculation here, it seems as though so many of us are focused on doing our own thing that we don't want to take the time to build something that's long lasting. Everybody has their own show. Everybody has their own views and their own take. Nobody really wants to combine. And then the times that we try to combine our efforts and to get things done, it blows up in our faces. People's egos take over, and they can't work with each other. It derails the movement completely. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is what it is. We'll go ahead and jump into this video right here, folks. Let me see. Yeah, again, that's what happened. That's a quick recap from yesterday's video. And again, we're going to play the beginning of Primo Radical's video. I'm going to try to leave the video in the description so you guys can just click the link. I'll let that out. A couple of you guys called me out, said you didn't want to subscribe to me or give me a like because I didn't put the video in the description. My bad, my black. I'll put it in this time, all right? So we'll go ahead and jump into it. This is the beginning of the video to about 11 minutes and 52 seconds where we started from yesterday, all right? So here we go.
Jimmy Dore, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being back on. I really appreciate it. We're recording this on the 4th of July, so I appreciate you taking time away from your 4th of July celebrations. And I just want to ask you, because it's been about a year since we last spoke, how are you enjoying the new post-fascist America now that kids are free from cages and Julian Assange is free and we stopped bombing the Middle East and we stopped funding a genocide in Gaza?
So, yeah, things got actually a little worse, and nobody seems to care because Joe Biden doesn't tweet.
Right, because everything is so much better now that Trump's not in office. Black people stop getting killed. We stop dropping bombs all over the place. The president is not going after reporters or anything like that. It's all gravy.
Stuff. That's what happened. Right now in California, the California legislature passed a law that says you can't use private prisons for immigrants. Joe Biden's administration is trying to get that law overturned. That sounds like something Trump would do. No, that's what Joe Biden's doing. It used to be under Trump, it was okay for religious schools to discriminate against LGBTQ people. And right now, Joe Biden is defending that. He's defending the right of religious schools to discriminate against LGBTQ. He's bombing the Middle East.
That last one is a tough one. So Joe Biden is basically siding with the religious schools and discriminating against transgender people. I don't agree with it on its face. I don't agree with that. You shouldn't discriminate, against transgender people. But then it goes into that question of, well, can they do it since they are their own organization? It doesn't make it right, but can they do it? Like, sir, like the I'm sorry, I'm reading the comment and then getting mixed up. But like the situation with Facebook being a private company, YouTube being a private company, can they censor folks? Yes, they can. They are a private company, but should they be able to do it? Should they do it in the first place? Is another question.
Been right. The kids
I apologize if you hear a lot of sounds. I got the window, closed up as much as I can. The fans off. I live in a ghetto. You're gonna hear a lot of stuff.
still in cages. We still don't have health care, a minimum wage, or even a public option or student loan relief. But we do have an extra 20 billion. No, it was it 30? How many more $1 billion did they give to the military, which could have ended homelessness? Let's remember, it takes $20 billion to end homelessness. So they could do it like that, but they don't want to because Joe Biden is just as big of a rapacious, murderous, war criming oligarch as Donald Trump.
Mm, mm. Is he lying? Is he lying? I mean, we spend more than, what is it, the top 9, 10, 11, 12 other biggest countries as far as our military goes. We have a base in like almost every single country, if not every single country in the world. Obviously not every country in the world, but who, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, American imperialism goes so far, it's so deep. It's crazy that we continue to see ourselves as some kind of savior of the planet, or like we're morally superior to every other country when we do some of the most atrocious and horrible things ever recorded in human history right here in this country. That's wild. That's wild. But whenever we talk about, endless war, dropping bombs, tax cuts, they never ask you how we're going to pay for all that stuff. They only ask us how we're going to pay for stuff that actually benefits the people, like Medicare for all and canceling student debt, and the Green New Deal. That the stuff that actually matters and should be important to everybody, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about none of that stuff. How are we going to pay for it? That's what we talk about.
So, Jimmy, obviously, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on today was to discuss what's been happening with TYT over the last month or so. It seems like from the outside looking in. I know that you obviously were on TYT for a while. I actually watched a
Shout out to
video.
my veterans out there.
I believe it was before you actually were part of the staff, but I saw
my grandfather was a
Jake
veteran
interviewing you in about 2010.
Vietnam.
So that was a little interesting to look back on. But
Rest
yeah,
in
so
peace.
I remember the first time you were on the show at the end of 2019, you talked about how
And my
you
two uncles
left
and a cousin.
TYT. And at the time when we spoke, everything seemed pretty amicable and it was just, time for you to move on. But over the last 6 months or so, it, has gotten pretty hostile. So I guess I'm just wondering what, from your perspective, what kind of started this and just when did things really start going sour?
Well, at the Republican convention in 2015.
Here we go. He's gonna get into the beginning, the whole genesis of the sour feelings and everything that happened between him and TYT. Now, watch or listen, I should say, because you're watching me, but you're listening to this. Listen to what he says. This is crazy. Anna's jealous. Anna Kasparian is jealous of Jimmy Dore. Now, this is one of those arguments when I heard it, I was like, oh man, Jimmy, why are you deflecting to, oh, they're just jealous of me and all my success? I started thinking about it a little more, and I started to agree with him a little more. I was like, you know what? They admitted it. He's not just saying this out the blue. They said it from out their mouths. They're jealous of him. And it makes, it kind of makes more sense as to why they've gone after him so hard, calling him a grifter and then, being paid by Russia and then Aaron Mate and all that. It may be a little bit of a jealousy thing because a lot of people agree with Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is actually standing up for what's right, standing up for the people, anti-war, anti-imperialist, pro-Medicare for all, pro-Green Deal, Green New Deal, you know what I'm saying? So it makes sense why they're kind of going after him. And when so many people are more in agreement, especially people like Kyle Kalinske coming out in a video and say it, that he's more in agreement, 90% in agreement with Jimmy Dore than TYT. So we'll go ahead and continue here. I just thought that was interesting. Well, he's gonna jump into it.
For 2016, Anna Kasparian sat down at lunch with me and told me how her and Johnny were jealous of me because I had started my own show and I was free. So that's really the genesis of all this. And
that's
then
the genesis, y'all.
After I left the Young Turks, I mean, if you know anything about Anna Kasparian, she's a deeply narcissistic, jealous person, and that's how she runs her life. I mean, she went from tweeting out a doctored video of an award-winning journalist to smear him, And when she got called on it, she didn't apologize, didn't retract it, didn't even acknowledge it, right? That should have ended her career. No one's even talking about it. Why? Because she came up with a bogus hashtag Me Too against Jimmy Dore to deflect everybody from that. And then jackasses like Kyle Kalinske run with it in an embarrassing way. And now his fans are unsubscribing from his show in the thousands.
Facts.
Because he did what he did.
Facts.
He did what an unbelievably dishonest, cowardly thing, and he revealed himself. And it was dishonest. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an oversight. What Kyle Kalinske did was dishonest, just as dishonest as what Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur have been doing. What Anna Kasparian did was tweet out a doctored video to smear an award-winning anti-war journalist. And when she was called on it, she didn't acknowledge it. That should end her career. Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian both smeared Julian Assange while he was being tortured in prison. They smeared him again last week. That's what they do. They're taking $20 million, $24 million from DNC billionaires and right-wingers, and they immediately flipped. I was told that the Young Turks had to move to the center by a top executive, and they know it's true. And they did. This is what's happening. When Cenk Uygur smears Julian Assange in the most disgusting way possible, that's him signaling to his donor that I'm a good boy. Please keep giving me money. That's all that is. And so the way this all started was when I did hashtag Force the Vote.
So before we get into that, so he made the point that, he took this money and then all of a sudden he started smearing Julian Assange. So when Kyle Kalinske brings up the point that, well, their coverage hasn't changed or, it never changed any of their opinions, maybe that in itself is not actually based in any reality. Like maybe that's not exactly true. Jimmy's saying that when they changed their tune on Julian Assange after they received the money. And we all know Democrats as well as Republicans are going after Julian Assange right now. This dude who's been sitting in Belmarsh prison suffering on lockdown, like just being tortured. It's crazy. The whole situation is crazy to me. That is unbelievable. But this is what we're fighting up against, people trying to silence us to the point where they'll torture somebody in prison, try to lock him away for the rest of his life for doing journalism, for doing good journalism and exposing war crimes. That's what all of this is about, exposing war crimes. And that's a giant red flag. That is a huge red flag. If you try to come out and you expose something that our country is doing, and then people or newscasters, whatever, come out against you for exposing the truth, that's wild. That's craziness.
Anna Kasparian decided to call me a grifter and question my motives for no reason.
Mind you, Kyle Kalinske says you should never question anybody's motives. He also has that disagreement apparently with TYT. You should never ever question anybody's motives. But as you can see, that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. Now, to be fair, Jimmy is also questioning their motives and Kyle Kalinske's motives as well. And that I wish it wasn't like that. But, you got to look at the evidence and everything that is involved in this story. And watch the people's reactions, how they react. I watch people's reactions all the time. I watch how they react to certain stories and about certain things. Like when Kyle Kalinske said that his first reaction when Aaron Matei got smeared as being paid off by Russia, his first reaction was to laugh. Not to come out in defense of Aaron, not to tweet or make a video, nothing. Just he chuckled and then said, "Oh, I don't want to get in it. I'm neutral, bro. I'm neutral, bro. I'm neutral. I don't know. Man, Kyle, you disappoint me, bro."
And besides her narcissism and jealousy of me. And so I responded. And then when I responded to her trying to drag my name through the mud because I was trying to get health care for people, Cenk Uygur then piled on. And so then I was like, okay, well, if you guys are going to try to attack my character over forced, but by the way, they did a poll, the Young Turks did a poll for their own audience, their own paying members, what they wanted to do on Force the Vote. 9 out of 10 of them, 86%, 9 out of 10 said they were for Force the Vote and they wanted the Young Turks to support Force the Vote. Well, Cenk Uygur not only did not support Force the Vote, because he would always say, when he took the money, he would always say to his audience, "You are our boss. You hire us. You fire us." Well, guess what? They're firing them. They went against their own audience. 9 out of 10 of their own audience wanted to do Force the Vote. And not only did Cenk and Anna not go along with Force the Vote, but they lied about it to kneecap it. Cenk Uygur said that Kevin McCarthy could become speaker, which is a flat-out lie. And no one's called him on it except this show, except me, right? And so that started his long litany of lies. So they started lying about Julian Assange, then they lied about Force the Vote, they lied about Kevin McCarthy becoming speaker. Then I outed their shady fundraising that they were doing, like televangelists, which was gross to say the least. And so then they were misreporting the Syria story. Then they smeared Aaron Mate as taking money from the Russians and working for Assad. And then Jen called me a Nazi. Then Anna Kasparian came up with the phony sexual harassment. It was so transparently bullshit.
Facts.
And Kyle Kalinske then gave that false equivalency. What a real reveal by Kyle Kalinske. His fans are stunned. They're unsubscribing from his show by the thousands, and his videos getting ratioed. And he's on a corporate algorithm with the Young Turks. Kyle Kalinski's show is on the Young Turks network. So they were taking away his dislikes on his video. And we caught that in real time. I tracked that. But I just wanted to let people know what Kyle Kalinske did.
And they're showing the video. Kyle addresses Jimmy Dore and Aaron Mate versus TYT. This is the first video Kyle Kalinske did. As of this video, he had 343,797 views, 19,000 likes, and 17,000 dislikes on that video by Kyle. 17,000 dislikes. So there's a difference of about 2,000 people from the likes to dislike ratio. It goes to show you that a lot of people in Kyle Kalinsky's, a lot of his subs are not feeling what he's saying, or his response, or his actions. And I'm like, I hope he reflects on that, you know. Now, he said he's not going to touch this anymore. He said on Twitter he's not going to, talk about the situation, so Jimmy could just go to town on him or whatever. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You think Kyle should actually come back out and try to do some kind of damage control, or do you think he should just shut up at this point and just let it go? That sucks, man. That really sucks. It really does.
What he did was he tried to clutch his pearls because Anna Kasparian was trying to blackmail me because they wanted the criticisms of their horrible business practice and their McCarthy spearing to stop.
Yeah, exactly. So Anna does that just to shut him up, right? And then Kyle Kalinske comes in defense of Anna trying to shut Jimmy Dore up, trying to blackmail him. That's wild. That's wild. And then he comes back on another video and tries to he apologizes for two aspects. One being the fact that he didn't give Jimmy Dore the heads up about him and Crystal not wanting him on the show, which they could have done weeks ahead of time, days at least ahead of time, but they did it on the day and then delayed the response to his text message. And then he also apologized about not calling the situation out about the blackmail, but then proceeds to then justify it by saying, hey, I will say, I didn't like your response about the skirt. It was the inappropriate response. And somebody left a comment, and I thought it was so simple, but you overlook it. Kyle is mad that Jimmy's inappropriate comment was inappropriate. So Kyle found Jimmy Dore's inappropriate comment inappropriate, y'all. Let me continue.
But we weren't going to stop telling the truth about them. So Anna Kasparian, 7 years ago, I told a joke at work when she flashed everybody at work, basically is what happened. Anna Kasparian came into the newsroom, bent over and flashed the whole newsroom, and I made a joke to my boss. She was my boss because it got uncomfortable. And I said to her, hey, nice news skirt, to kind of give her a heads up. Hey, you're flashing the whole newsroom. You're sexualizing the workplace. And everybody laughed really loudly because everybody was like, whoa, watching, and they could see what was happening. And so she got embarrassed. And I didn't want to embarrass my coworker. Like, I didn't want her to be embarrassed or feel badly. And so I apologized to her immediately. I said, "Hey, I didn't mean to embarrass you like that. I just wanted to give you a heads up." And in the joking way that you guys hired me to around here. By the way, that was the Howard Stern show when that happened.
All facts.
They used to do a segment called "Guess Who's Camel Toe," and they would zoom in on a celebrity's camel toe through their tights, and you'd have to guess who it was. Then they would also post revenge porn. They literally posted revenge porn on tyt.com, and they would take whenever a celebrity woman was getting out of a car, and they took.
Yeah, exactly. I will continue with this, but I just wanted to point out real quick. TYT is the same organization. You know, they're the same. So, and everybody's yelling hashtag free Britney, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But just to let you guys know, TYT is the same organization that was disparaging Britney Spears back in the day, just like everyone else was. So there was a point that was made: is TYT, are they partly to blame for this whole Britney Spears situation, for their part in what they did to not only Britney Spears but Kim Kardashian and other women? It's really when I look back at the videos of TYT doing that stuff, it was revealing. And let me point out, Jimmy Dore is a comedian. It was revealing to him, like he's a comedian, and they were doing this kind of stuff. It's Jenks saying the N bomb, saying the N word repeatedly, flippantly, nonchalantly, like it's not affecting anybody, and then saying it in reference to a senator saying it. And then at the end of the video, basically saying, hey, you thought you were going to get away with this. Nope, you're not. And then you're actually saying the same thing you thought that he was going to. Like, you're doing the exact same messed up thing you just called him out for. How do you not see the hypocrisy in that? That's crazy to me. That's crazy. So these people at TYT fostered this kind of behavior. And then they want to label Jimmy Dore as some kind of sexual deviant. Jenks saying that Jimmy Dore was trying to look up under Anna's skirt. That's wow, that's crazy. And I wasn't there. So I wasn't there. I don't know. But that sounds like a big reach to me. That sounds, especially when you have a history of reaching like that, calling Aaron Mate a paid Russian, or he's being paid by Russia. It's a reoccurring theme that when people get called out, these so-called progressive liberal people, whatever, they automatically deflect to Me Too politics or McCarthyite smearing. It's incredible. Amazing. Like Jesse Lee, amazing.
Picture of up her skirt. The Young Turks would do a video about it, and then they would post that video on TYT and tell their fans to go see the uncensored picture of the naked vagina of whoever the celebrity was. That's the pigs that the Young Turks are and were. That's the pigs that Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian actually are. That's the misogynistic pigs that they are. And I said, nice news skirt. That's a closed fucking case. She accepted my apology. I wrote her a card. That's what it said. And I did it without a blackmail campaign. I did it without a fucking threat of a job I did it without anything. I did it because I was a stand-up fucking guy. And then 7 years later, when she's getting criticized by Aaron Mate and Jimmy Dore for their McCarthy smears, she tries to weaponize that incident, and then Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball both validated it. And that is unforgivable. That's unforgivable.
That's true. That's true. Man, so a lot of people, again, I said in my last video, no, they don't see a problem with Kyle and Crystal having on Hassan Piker after this whole situation unfolded. And I explained that you were going through, you knew about the situation unfolding, and then instead of having Jimmy Dore on because you ghosted him and said you didn't want to have him on the show because basically he's too controversial for you guys, they had Hassan Piker on, which is Jenks' nephew, and they didn't see a problem with that. The optics of it don't look great. You ghost Jimmy Dore, and then instead of having Jimmy Dore on your program, you have Hassan Piker, and then you proceed to bring up the situation in which you didn't want to have Jimmy Dore on your show for, and then you bring up the situation saying you don't want to talk about it while basically talking about it, and then dismissing it and letting it be framed, as Jimmy Dore said, as Jimmy Dore drama. The blackmailing, the cover-up at the OPCW, the smearing of Aaron Mate. Like serious stuff that's really going on, serious accusations being thrown out by one of the biggest shows on YouTube. And people like Kyle and Crystal and all these other people, they don't feel as though it's necessary to call out. And a lot of other people on the progressive side or leftist side or whatever, quite frankly, they haven't said anything because they feel as though it's too messy for them to get into, and they don't feel as though it's necessary to call out. But I will.
So, Jimmy, I have to say I found Kyle's.
So let me just say, and so when Kyle told that story, when he did his video, what he did was he got mad at me. The only person he got angry at in the whole thing, he didn't get angry at Cenk for smearing Julian Assange
Nope.
or Aaron Mate
Nope.
or his shady business
Nope.
deal or for calling Jimmy Dore a
Nope.
neo-Nazi or for saying Aaron Mate
Nope.
worked for the Russians or Anna Kasparian for
Nope.
tweeting out a doctored video of an award-winning journalist to smear him or for her doing a phony #MeToo against me to distract. The only person he got mad at in that whole thing, he wanted to punch me in the face. And why? Because the story I just told you, I told on my show about how Anna flashed the newsroom and I made a joke. And he said, how horrible of that would be. Why would I want to humiliate her again? Because she was blackmailing me. And Kyle left that part out of the story. And his own fans are unsubscribing from his show by the thousands because of it. He had to do another video he just dropped today apologizing, trying to explain. And it's worse. So Kyle Kalinske is being revealed right now in this moment. So he did that. He did a totally dishonest, bogus fucking move to try to do a false equivalency because he's on the TYT network and it's all about money for him, I guess, because they're taking dislikes away from his thing. I don't know what Cenk Uger's holding over his head, but it's really making Kyle look like a piece of it right now. I'll tell you that. And everybody's calling. You saw what he did, right? Yes. Are you okay with it?
No, Jimmy, I'm not okay with it. You was talking to Primo, my bad. But anyways, yeah, so that's correct. Kyle, the only person that Kyle got mad at was Jimmy Dore in this whole situation. He called it out. He called out Aaron Mate's smearing as wrong, and he disagreed with it after he got called out by Jimmy Dore and other people. He called out the blackmailing of Jimmy Dore by Anna Kasparian only after the afterthought video that he posted. So it takes Kyle Kalinske to be literally attacked on Twitter and attacked on YouTube, and for him to get ratioed, for him to start realizing the error of his ways. He doesn't automatically get this, or he does fully understand what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose. And Jimmy Dore makes some claims here that he doesn't know why he's doing it. Maybe it's for money. Maybe he got a piece of that $24 million, whatever. I don't know. But that's what Jimmy's just saying right now. Maybe, maybe he knows. Well, of course he would know more than us. He was actually a part of TYT. And that's one of my criticisms about Jimmy Dore. Aside from the fact that maybe he shouldn't go too nuclear too soon. But the fact that he was with TYT for so long, and people have been telling him. We have been telling Jimmy Dore to leave TYT and separate from TYT for years. But he felt as though it was necessary to stick with him. He thought that Cenk was, a good guy, and that he gave him a chance. And, to be real, Cenk did give him an opportunity to come on the Young Turks and to provide an anti-war, aggressive, progressive message. They actually had a show called Aggressive Progressives on the TYT network. But I guess it just goes to show you can't be a part of something like that for too long. Eventually it'll start wearing on you, and it's like people that join the cops or they want to be police officers. If you actually want to be a good cop and a good police officer, you most likely won't stay there. They're either gonna try to get you out somehow, or you're gonna leave by your own. You're gonna leave by your own accord, because you're not gonna want to be a part of a organization like that. It's one of the reasons why I didn't do it. I don't see myself when I look at them. I don't, I can't envision myself when I look at them. When I know all the things that they're capable of, that they're guilty of, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's like I don't see myself going there. But let's go ahead and continue with this video here.
I have to agree that I found his last video especially very cowardly. Just saying that he didn't want to speak with you. And actually, I have to draw some parallels.
He didn't want to speak with Jimmy Dore. He was too scared to ask the question. The question that, by the way, FYI, Primo Radical asked Jimmy Dore. He had no problem asking Jimmy Dore. So did you feel like your comment went a little too far, Jimmy? And yeah, Jimmy goes off, but That's expected. He always goes off. Is this anything new? Is anybody surprised that Jimmy Dore is going off? Anybody? That's crazy to me. And wouldn't you want to get out ahead of this? You being a so-called good friend of Jimmy Dore, why aren't you guys contacting each other more? Who? Why? Where are the other texts? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the communication between our prominent lefty news shows? Where's the organization? You know, to be fair, Jimmy did try to organize everybody, would force the vote and everything like that, and people just weren't having it. You know, so we're gonna wrap it up in a little bit here, but he does go over that question that I keep bringing up that I actually put in the last video. We'll probably let him answer that question and just kind of go through that just a little bit, just to reiterate on that one, all right? Because again, this was the very same question that Kyle Kalinske didn't want to ask Jimmy Dore for, I don't know, I guess because he was afraid. According to his own words, he was scared of Jimmy's reaction.
As I recently saw where he went off at the suggestion that he spoke with Nick Brana.
So I guess this is Nick Brana who wants to like bait me into some sort of debate. Dude, I wish you well. I hope you build your party. The last thing you should want is a prominent lefty YouTuber to like be put in a position where I come out strongly against you. Sorry, that's the truth. I wish you well, but I don't think you're going to do well. That's my take on it. And you don't want me to, you know, expound on that more because it won't go well for you.
And to me,
Wow.
I don't know.
That was stunning. That's basically Kyle flexing on Nick Brana for the People's Party. Flexing on him, basically saying, hey, bro, you don't want me to go on my channel and tell all my subscribers how full of BS I think you are. You don't want me to do all that, so you better just calm down, boy. You better just calm down. Kind of, you know, that's eerily reminiscent of the way Anna Kasparian came at Jimmy Dore. I wonder if that's a reoccurring theme between TYT affiliates. We'll just, you know, threaten them. We'll just kind of blackmail them, and we'll just kind of throw our weight around because we have such large shows. We can just ignore everybody that's not on our level and just throw our weight around and just bully people. That's crazy. And when I heard Nick Brana's response, that actually it was on Primo Radical's channel. So check out Primo Radical. He had Nick Brana on, and Nick Brana was just like, hey, I respect Kyle, and I disagree with him. He seemed like such a nice guy. Nick Brana seems like such a nice guy. Man, shout out Nick Brana. He followed me on Twitter. That was crazy. I was like, oh, cool, Nick Brana. That's what's up. So I absolutely agree with what he's doing. I'm hoping it works. You know, I don't know all the details and mechanics behind it, but, you know, he's doing good things. He's doing the law's work. So let's go ahead and continue here.
Kyle is just like a shy guy or doesn't like confrontation, but it seems
So am
remarkably
I.
cowardly. And so in this last video, he essentially said the reason that he didn't
Sometimes
want
you
to
need a
have
little confrontation. Sometimes people need to be uncomfortable. That's the truth. Sometimes people, and that's the people don't want to make people uncomfortable, and that's one of the issues that we have. Because when we're not uncomfortable, we get too comfortable, and when we're too comfortable, we start lacking. We start slacking. We start making mistakes. We start being oblivious to stuff. That's why I said, everybody, when I start acting hypocritical, I say something hypocritical, call me out, because sometimes I do talk a lot and I forget what I be saying. That happens.
Because he didn't want to ask you a question. So I'm just going to ask you the question that he didn't want to ask you.
Here we go.
When
Here's the
you
question.
were revealing the blackmail attempt by Anna Kasparian, you used the term that she was dressing inappropriately. In retrospect, do you think that that was the wrong terminology to use in that response?
The only reason I had to talk about that.
Jimmy's face when he asked him. I wish you guys could see it. Maybe one day, and I get big enough, I can get like the whole situation where I can flip between. That'd be dope. Because his facial reaction was just on point here. He was just like,
Because she was fucking blackmailing me.
blackmail.
And you're gonna nitpick the words that
Nitpicking.
someone who's being in the most sleaziest thing you could do,
Yeah.
the thing you can never defend yourself from. You're gonna do. She's gonna weaponize an incident from 7 years ago. That's an obvious transparent bullshit. She's gonna misuse the hashtags Me Too thing that makes other women not be fucking believed. And
Seriously.
the problem Kyle had was that I said she dressed inappropriately when I had to explain what happened. I'm sorry. I don't fucking apologize for that. And what he did was bullshit. And it should what a bullshit thing. I'm not responding to a fucking sleazy blackmail thing properly. I'm not using the proper words. Is that really the accusation? Yes, that was the accusation. And of course, I showed Kyle Kalinske to be a complete full fucking outrage pearl clutcher because he had tweeted at Anna Kasparian before, hey, why don't you masturbate on camera? I bet you'd get more live stream viewers. And Anna Kasparian went back, I bet we'd get 6,000. So they're all fucking pigs.
Yo, I was gonna make that point too. SM says any student who wanted to could have tried to get her fired for sexual harassment. Title, I don't know Roman numerals. It's an I and an X, whatever that means. But yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, in a way, if what she was wearing was really that risque, like Jimmy said, I thought that was hilarious, by the way. Damn, like, didn't she sexually harass him? Like, wouldn't you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the okay? Because I made this point before. If you go outside and you go pee on a building, you know, you take your junk out and you go take a piss on a building. Like, they can get you for indecent exposure, right? Like, you're taking your stuff, even if you're just peeing on a building and minding your own business, like, they can still get you because you're exposing yourself. You can't go out and go streak and expose yourself. That's indecent exposure. So why are the standards different for Anna? You know, like, and not outside, not at a rave, at a club, at the park, your niece's birthday party, whatever. We're talking about the workplace. We're talking about where Jimmy Dore and Anna Kasparian worked at the Young Turks, where they fostered this kind of sexually deviant and misogynistic behavior on the regular. On the regular. Tried to be the Howard Stern. This is something that Kyle Kalinske praised. This is something that Kyle Kalinske wished would come back. Basically, he said he loved that's when he loved TYT the most, when they were that misogynistic and that sexually deviant. Basically, is what he said. You know, and again, I'm all for, you know, being, you know, not PC sometimes and just cracking jokes. You know, I like to call myself an amateur comedian sometimes. You know, but there's a certain line you don't cross, and when you're trying to hold yourself to be like some morally superior being, you know, especially when you're comparing yourself to Jimmy Dore or whatever the fact, and you have such a raunchy history, I think you're backwards. And anybody who doesn't call that out deserves to be called out, honestly. Because how are we going to be a strong movement of not only leftists, but just people in general, just people who agree on the basics, people who agree on the basics. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we ever going to make a formidable movement against the powers that be, against the United States or should I say the United Corporations of America, if we can't even get the basic stuff right, if we can't even come together and organize and communicate effectively in private? You know, if we don't come out and call out the hypocrisies on the biggest lefty news show, or so-called lefty news show, or whatever the middle-aged McCarthyites are at this point in this time in 2021. Yeah, we can't call that out, but we expect to get real change done. We can't have the tough conversations. We just want to ignore it completely or not talk about it and then label it as Jimmy Dore drama because we don't want to talk about the facts. We don't want to talk about the real issues. We'd rather talk about nonsense. So, in the spirit of that, may I remind you guys, this is all about the OPCW cover-ups. This is about two whistleblowers that came out and blew the whistle on the OPCW, saying that they covered up that whole chemical weapons story, that Assad used chemical weapons against his own people at a time when he was about to win the war. He chose to use chemical weapons against his people, got the US and all these other countries involved in his country, in which they don't want them in their country. They're continuously dropping bombs in Syria. They're continuously, you know, just doing this imperialistic bullcrap that TYT condones, you know what I'm saying? And you don't think that this is important to call out. No, we're just going to label it #TYT drama. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Fucking pigs, and they're trying to slime me, and it's not working.
And
Yeah.
just another point, shout out to Aaron Matei for making it a point to call out the smearing or the slander of Jimmy Dore, because that's important as well. It's not just Aaron Matei being McCarthyite smeared. It's about Jimmy Dore effectively being blackmailed by Anna Kasparian, a part of effectively being blackmailed, by TYT because of his coverage of the OPCW cover-up. Yeah. All right. Have a good day. So this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about here. This is the kind of antics that they resort to in regards to being called out on their BS. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. That's all I really wanted to play. This was, again, Primo Radical, his channel. So I'll try to leave this video in the description so you guys can check it out for yourselves. Like this video, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to come back on another video, actually. I just got to do do a little bit of work here, go check up real quick, and get ready for the next one. I'll probably end up going live as well. I'm not sure. The lives seem to be doing pretty well right now because there's some things that I actually want to get into. So with all that being said, folks, love, peace, and light. Find me on all social media. Links are in the description if you guys want to support the show, if you guys want to check me out on all social medias and all that other jazz. Again, check me out on anchor.fm, my podcast, Spotify, and all that jazz. Until next time, folks, is there anything else I wanted to say before I left? Because I always forget stuff. I always seem to be forgetting stuff. I think that's pretty much it. Until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.